Hey everyone, this is Louis7 and I am streaming World of Warcraft because it is WoW Wednesday. And I think I will be trying to play all the tanks, trying to find a tank I like with the Shadowlands pre-patch. And I'm going to be starting with the warrior, but there are a lot of classes that can tank. There are actually 6. I just was looking at the list and kind of forgot there were so many tank options. So we'll be playing a lot of different characters today pretty briefly, and just like all the DPS specs that we did before in the first 3 parts, I will be running basically random dungeons. And the problem with me tanking is this will basically be my first time tanking in a couple of years in WoW. I think tanking fortunately is fairly easy, so I shouldn't have too much to worry about, but it is a little bit of a concern. But hopefully the queues will be fast because there's not too much for me to do on the landscape in general while waiting for queues, as there was with the DPS specs. So I will, if I can press the right button, I'll go ahead and actually search up a dungeon on this character. So I'm starting with the warrior, protection warrior. This is a class in general that I feel like I don't know, it's probably in the middle of the pack for tanks for me, just based on my previous experience with it. I haven't ever particularly loved it or disliked it. There have been some periods with it where I liked it a lot more than other periods and things like that that are pretty usual depending on whatever certain balance passes, or not balance passes, but class passes have been like. So yeah, this character's in Westfall, oddly enough. This is where we went when I was testing out Arms and Fury on the warrior. But I think today it's going to be, as I mentioned, a lot of different classes, and a lot of my characters actually still have to get set up. This character is probably the only one that's actually set up with some talents. And as far as the talents go, unlike DPS, I still try to, I guess, pick the most fun ones like DPS, I should say. But then there are also some considerations. I have no idea how different talents actually perform for tanking, since it's not something I do all too frequently all the time. Now, I do like tanking. It's kind of like healing. Usually I probably prefer DPS, but tanking can definitely be fun sometimes. I think tanking and even healing to an extent are more fun when you're playing with people you know rather than just doing pug dungeons. But again, I think pug dungeons are easy enough that it's not like anything I need to worry about. Wow, I have 3 shield bashes somehow. I feel like I'm lagging because I'm trying to loot this and there is no loot. Oh, maybe that was it. I have no idea why it let me pick 3 shield bashes there, though. For the PvP talents, it's not like I'm doing any of those. It looks like it still is making me switch, though. But anyway, for anybody unfamiliar, I guess, with my channel too much, I do mainly focus on the Lord of the Rings online, just so people know, and go ahead and try and enter the dungeon again. So there was kind of some big news for Lotro that I will be breaking down tomorrow for anybody potentially looking for that on my channel and curious about when that will be. I'll try to have a video tomorrow on all the recent Lotro news we had from a Q&A live stream. But otherwise, today I just want to continue with WoW Wednesday. And speaking of that, next Wednesday, next week I will not be able to do this, so it'll be a 2-week break, I think, before I can get back to another WoW Wednesday. And it looks like we have Halls of Lightning for our dungeon here. It's a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon. And this one is pretty tough balance. We have done this actually a couple times. Looks like somebody marked me with a circle, so I assume that means we're ready to go. But I do know this one has actually been a little bit tough, and I don't really know too much how to play. Like, as far as tanking goes, I don't know too much of what warrior does. I think Devastate is just something I can use whenever, and then Revenge is my AoE rage consumer and damage, just general damage. And if I need to get my defenses up, I think Shield Block is something I can use fairly frequently, and it looks like I can block all melee attacks, so if I'm taking like tactical damage or range damage, I guess it wouldn't work all that well. And then I also have Shockwave for a stun. And Ignore Pain, I'm guessing, is the big one. That is a bubble based on, I guess it consumes 40 rage and then can prevent some damage. But yeah, I think this will be interesting because, as I've mentioned, I don't play the tanks all too much. It's been a while, especially like one like Warrior. because I play it just a little bit, but I'll see how I like it. It should be fairly quick for me to tell. I think right now Warrior's not too bad, just from my very initial impressions. Of course, we haven't even got into a boss fight or anything. One thing I'm not sure I like is actually the thunderclap animation. It's a little bit weird to me. It looks a little bit more clapping, I guess, more of a stomp than it used to maybe, but it also looks less thunderous, I guess. That's just my impression of it. I guess I should pull this other mob. I probably have a taunt. Yeah, I do actually have a taunt called Taunt. Victory Rush would probably also be good to use if, I don't know if that lightning, I guess that follows me. I didn't know if it was a ground effect. Oh, I have a lot of rage. Don't see the boss. I know he roams around, but should be good here. I do know that's one of the issues the few times we have ran this when I played all the other classes trying to find a DPS spec I liked. I'll go ahead and use my defensive rage consumer and shield block. I just see my health going low, and I know as a tank I should prioritize defenses over doing damage, of course. As fun as it is doing a lot of damage as a tank in WoW, I think it is good to still prioritize the defensive abilities. And the DPS, as far as I know, the DPS should do more damage than the tank. I just know at some low level ranges that hasn't always been true. Alright, so I'll go ahead and wait for the boss here. Oh, and looks like somebody decided to pull everything. This will be interesting. I know I have a bunch of cooldowns. I don't remember exactly what they all do, but I'm going to use them right now. Oh, we're getting that whirlwind effect. And this is such a mess. I really have no idea what's going on with this fight. Very hectic boss fight to jump in. I'm surprised I lived that long. I was just taking a lot of damage. I used all my cooldowns, but that was not something good for me to jump into with my first dungeon run as a tank in a couple of years. But I am a little bit happy, I guess, with the overall defenses. That was just one thing I was concerned about since it's been so long. I didn't know what the general state of how squishy people were. I guess I should release it so you can actually run back here. Looks like they're trying to kite him around, which is a good thing. He's doing his whirlwind again. I remember the whirlwind as well. That was one thing that killed a lot of people when I have run this previously, so I think I can intervene on the demon hunter there and get to the boss a little bit quicker. Alright, let's should probably move him here. I think he can knock you back, or at least somebody else can. Wonder if that slam was something avoidable. Maybe not. I think the rest of the dungeon should be a bit easier than that, fortunately. That one we got an ad fight and the boss at the same time. This part I've always just run through. I actually don't know if you really need to stay and fight them ever. I think this is actually a time I could use Whirlwind. I think compared to Revenge, just from the very brief amount that I looked at it when I dragged the skill back to my skill bar, is that it is a full AoE, it's not just a frontal AoE, and it does a little bit less damage, I think? Yeah, a little bit less damage, but over 5 targets it can do more overall because Revenge does less if you hit more than 5, I think. I have no idea what these things like to my left and right are. If they're different buffs I have or different procs I have whenever I get those little things. Like I have one to the left there. Actually, I have no idea what that means when I get that with this character. I really do have a lot of stuff to do though, especially in these AoE fights. I think when you take more damage, if I remember correctly, you generate more rage. So I'm like, it seems like I often can cast Revenge, and I'm having Shield Slam. It seems like that's proccing a lot with the reset cooldown. Not even having to use Devastate that much just as like a plain filler. And hello, Vulgar TG, you said you're keen to see some tank action this stream. Well, there should be a lot of tanking already. Off to a quick start with this character. And I need to clear my throat because I feel like it's getting raspy right now. Okay, so sorry about that, but yes, I am excited to be jumping in with the tanks as well. I thought about doing a healer here. I have no idea what Temper does. I really should know these boss mechanics a little bit more, but looks like he summons some ads. I've done these bosses. I've even done this particular dungeon I think a couple times recently, but and you really don't have to pay too much attention in general to mechanics in WoW unless there's like, am I just having trouble with these ads, or I don't know if they weren't tauntable. I guess I'm having a little bit of trouble. I cannot get enough threat on this one. They might just run around, I really don't remember. He keeps changing target whenever I'd hit him. Or whenever after I would taunt. Oh, and we got another ad group here. So I do have cooldowns, going to try to use those. I also have Victory Rush, but it's in a bad spot. I don't even have a keybind for that. Okay, that was a pretty crazy fight. I really feel like because you're a tank, you're almost more in control with the pace and just the flow of the battle. Of course, a couple times we had now ads pulled. That one was after the boss fight and not at the start of it like the other one, but I don't know what exactly they're doing there. I didn't know if I missed something, but looks like people are catching up here now. I think each time we go past one of these, maybe it's the second set here, we'll get some ads.
I need to get closer.
But yeah, just like any MMO, I suppose, there's a lot more burden on the tank. So it could definitely be more of a stressful thing, like worrying about mechanics, just missing those, I think is a lot more important as a tank.
Have you met my dog? His name is Barking on Bubbles.
If I actually compare tanking perhaps to, or WoW tanking to Lotro tanking, I'd say they're fairly similar now, actually. So in Lotro, you used to have skills that would generate high threat, and that's the same as WoW. You used to have skills that would generate like high threat. And as far as I know, there's actually not anything like that in WoW anymore, and there's not anything like that in Lotro anymore. It's just if you're a tank spec, you generate more threat with your regular skills. I guess I can't use my heroic leap thing if I'm rooted. I was hoping that would remove the root for me. Can't tell. Okay, I thought I might have lost aggro on him, but yeah, just like in Lotro, you can lose aggro to the DPS, but in general, threat is built passively. So I think tanking in general between the two games is pretty similar overall from my experience.
I'm out of range.
Except the one big difference, I suppose, is every class in Lotro uses power, and a lot of the tanks in WoW use rage or different resources, but that's true with a lot of classes in general. The only one that doesn't use power, which is essentially mana in Lotro, is the Beorning. They have Wrath, which is similar to rage, but they even use that on DPS, and I'm just taking a lot of damage here. I could have been out of line of sight of the healer there. I see them healing me now, but that could have been a potential cause, and I should have an interrupt. I actually have no idea where my interrupt is. There it is. It's on my keybind for dot. And I just used it for no reason because I saw it's on the keybind there, but I should probably move that, try to find a better place for it on my skill bar, but I don't know a better place for that. I was hoping to get healed up a little bit more before we pulled this, but unfortunately I did not have the choice there. I was just sitting there waiting for my health to go up a little bit, but then I think actually the hunter pet just got a little bit too close and it pulled. I feel like I used my cooldown at a bad time because it just increases my maximum health. Oh, it does heal me for 30% as well, so it was useful for that. I feel like this group, though, they seem to have pretty good damage. It seems to be running pretty quickly, especially compared to previous times I have run this as a DPS. And I feel like I picked the Dragon Roar talent, but I feel like I'm not quite liking that too much. I thought it'd be an interesting option compared to the other talents in that row. Demoralizing Shout, that is one to reduce the damage enemies deal to me very briefly. But that generating rage and increasing the damage I deal to them could be interesting. Okay, missed some loot here. And then maybe even just getting Best Served Cold to improve Revenge a little bit, since I use that a lot. Could be another option. And we got a couple groups this time, but I know it was definitely my fault this time because I ran like right into them as the tank when I pulled them. But hopefully we don't run into issue. If we get the little dwarves, I think they're the ones that can do big AoE damage if we don't move out of the way. And there was something I could have just interrupted there. Oh, it just took too much damage. Oh, I got a battle res. I am trying to get aggro on everything again. I think one person died and retreated, whatever that's called, Release Spirit, and wow. Hand of the Prophet battle standard. I have no idea what that actually does. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think we have the healer here.
By the light be purged!
Mainly concerned if the healer was ready. I don't remember which one does the whirlwind. That is the one I want to target because I also need to move away from that. Oh, somebody stunned him. Wow. I'm surprised somebody actually did that. Some people do a good job in WoW. I know a lot of people like to joke and criticize just random pug players, but sometimes people do useful things like that. Man, I need to get my interrupt in a better spot. I keep mentioning that, but I also can't tell. I think sometimes the Demon Hunter does a little jumpy spin thing, and even the Death Knight, just them doing their different abilities, I get that mixed up a little bit. Hello, Odie Dylan. You said I need to change that tank's name to Timex Takes a Lickin' and Keeps on Tickin'. Okay, so I think, yeah, we're once again, somebody actually marked this. People are making it easy for me, to be honest, for my first dungeon as a tank in a couple of years. Which I should probably actually target the one that's has a skull on them. I really like the pace of these Wrath of the Lich King dungeons, though. This one has a little bit of a long period, I suppose, between the third and last boss. I wonder what's the best way to go about this. Probably just go ahead and go here. Right down the middle. So I think Dragon Roar can interrupt them if they start doing things, but not that time. Oops, I must have missed one. They must have been doing their spinny thing, and just missed that. And I pulled some more. That was... Oh, so Odie, yeah, I meant to further comment on that I actually had no idea what that meant, but it's an old timers TV commercial, it sounds like. Yeah, that I just know from previous experience that spinny thing is really bad. You know, we might have had a shaman. I don't remember. I don't think we had a shaman in the group. Okay, so circa 1960 for that commercial. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know so much unfortunately, but I just wasn't around that long ago. I am honestly surprised, though, it took us this long to actually get wiped with this dungeon, and with some of the crazy stuff we've had with a couple of the pulls. All it took was a normal trash fight with three little dwarves, three little dangerous lightning dwarves, but that's what it finally took to wipe us there. And I really don't know, once again, with this character, just with his talents, I don't know. There's probably some better stuff I could pick, and maybe a little bit outdated with some of the... I didn't even know I got parry equal to my critical strike. That's a neat thing for a prot warrior, though, I think, because Building critical strike means you get more crits basically. You're focused on your damage in a way if you get a bunch of crit on your gear, but then you parry attack, so it gives you something defensive, like with your, say with a sword, I mean, that you're focused on your weapon's power. Wait, so his pet is actually in combat? That's pretty crazy. I have no idea how that happened. Ooh, Tonka trucks. I do remember Tonka trucks, Odie. And an elephant stood on one and it survived? I did not know that. I am just familiar with Tonka trucks.
We haven't crashed.
Okay, so is everybody actually here? Everybody except one person, but I think that's enough to pull these.
I need to get
So I think you all have probably seen my chat log a little bit, and I think I might be joining with somebody that I occasionally play with on Lotro. They might be joining me for some dungeons, it sounds like. So I should probably mention that when I'm tabbing over here. So it looks like they can do any of the normal Battle for Azeroth ones. So we'll see. I think we just have one of these left. I don't even know if this is the bad one that did all the damage to us. Oh, here I am not paying attention if we did pull more. I don't know why I used Avatar. I know that's actually offensive cooldown, not a defensive cooldown. Oh, I tried to jump out of that. These guys are just tough. I wonder if the balance on this is just like off, or if it's just like really perhaps some issues here. I know my interrupt, I'm not doing a good job interrupting that, but I feel like I've been trying to use my stuns when they've done it. Maybe they just do it very frequently. I guess it's best to run back. And hello Don White, and Odie, you said, what is my take on WoW lowering their level cap? I think it is a good thing. I really like that, especially on my low level characters, I can go to some of my favorite expansions and do those dungeons like Wrath of the Lich King here and Burning Crusade that I've done a lot. And even Mists of Pandaria, I oddly like those a lot. I feel like those are my three favorite expansions with WoW: Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and Mists of Pandaria, so I really do like that. And hello Hunsu and Vulgar TG US, what realm I play on? And I play on Argent Dawn, the US version. I know the EU version's more popular, Argent Dawn EU, but yeah, I started, I think way back in the day, Argent Dawn US used to be more popular, but I think it's just slowly dwindled over time. That thing seems to be moving like oddly fast. It just like goes up and then right back down. A lot of running back. Unfortunately, warriors are very slow. I don't have many movement abilities. I do have intervene, so I can just run to somebody else who can run faster, and then I can use heroic leap, but those are pretty long cooldowns, and intervenes depend on actually somebody being there. Otherwise, I do have charge for an enemy, but that's up to 25 yards, it looks like. I don't know why, I just remembered to reply. At least this group seems pretty nice with the issues we've been having. Oh, so Hunsu, he said join the EU Argentine, he'll give a tour of Goldshire. Yeah. In general, I think Goldshire is a neat place, but I know on the RP realms, I think it's EU Argentine that it's supposed to be a popular area. I actually think US Argentine is RP as well, so I only played this server because that's where my friends played. Basically the friends that got me into WoW at the start, that's where they played. I don't know why they chose an RP server, but that's what they did. I don't even know if they meant to choose. I would have probably chosen a normal server. There are some ideas I like about PvP, maybe as like a side thing, if I ever had time to actually do that. I'm not sure nowadays how fun PvP, world PvP could be. But yeah, we got past it, looks like, all the big bad mobs.
I'm out of range.
Big bad mobs as in the little lightning dwarves. Once again, it's my interrupt being at a dot. I kept like trying to find a button as I'm pressing 1, 2, and 3. I basically spend all my time, it seems like, pressing 1, 2, and 3, and then occasionally 4. But then actually getting my interrupt into a usable area. We'll move it to shift. I'll actually just put it at straight shift 1. That's where I usually have interrupts if I can. That'll mess up my charge a little bit. I like having that at shift 1 on a warrior in particular. Somebody's Van Cleef. I think I actually have that item on this character. I need to go ahead and use that. I prefer being Van Cleef. I don't know why. I like it on my warrior. Should be blocking my attacks for a while. I have that. I think I used both charges of shield block when I actually decided to pay attention to my defenses. Wonder this belt is not an upgrade, it looks like. Alright, so this boss I think can be tough as well. I don't remember, people used to take him like to the light, I think. I don't remember exactly the mechanics behind that. It could also have been a heroic thing. I just know we need to run away when whatever something comes up at some point that we need to run away for, I'm pretty sure. Looks like I can just sit here spamming revenge for a while. Lightning Nova, I think that's the one we need to run away for.
I'm out of range.
Oh, I went too far away to even use charge though. But yeah, as far as general tanking, I guess we've gotten towards the end of the dungeon, so I should be talking a little bit about the actual class. So far I still think kind of similar. It's not the most exciting to me right now. There we go, now I can use Ignore Pain, and he's going to use Lightning Nova. Oh, I think I might be running out of line of sight of the healer again. Let's try and get him a little bit closer to this circle again. Well, I used all my cooldowns, I thought. I don't know, the healer died, I don't know exactly what from. Oh, I got a res. I got a res, but accepted at a really bad time. Yeah, that execute didn't really do anything. I don't know who res me. Was it the Death Knight? I wonder if the Death Knight could have been high enough level to res. I don't think it was the Druid. Hopefully I'm not causing these issues. I feel like just because I'm a tank that I am causing issues, but I do not know. I can't believe this character is also still in a guild. It just says I gained honor with, or am now honored with Doomforge Brewing, which is the guild I was in. I didn't really do too much with the guild. I honestly don't even remember basically anybody in here. But I think I joined this guild in Mists of Pandaria maybe, but I didn't even end up doing much with them. It was just like a random guild I ended up joining. Once again, my voice is getting raspy, so sorry about that. It sounds like, so Hunsu, you were giving me some good tips, which is good. You said use Ignore try to maintain, ignore pain. Shield block just reduces melee physical damage. And hello, Ivan Snainer. Yes, I am playing a tank. It is going a little bit rough. So you hide behind a pillar for Lightning Nova. Okay. And we need to stay close to the boss. See, somebody's giving some helpful tips, which is nice. Always good to have that. And somebody in the chat, Hanzu, you said, I'm doing fine, but you also gave some tips, which is helpful. But yeah, I know one thing a lot of people say, at least seem to think, that the WoW community is like overall toxic with dungeons and running random dungeons and not helpful, but I think in my experience, at least the past couple weeks going back and doing all these dungeons, that has not been the case. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get like really mad about anything going on, which is good, of course. I also haven't been using my battle shout buff, which probably would help a little bit. We have, it gives attack power, which I think the Hunter, Death Knight, and the Demon Hunter, and the Druid, if they were in cat form the whole time, all of them could use that. Even I could use that. I just kind of forget there are buffs anymore. They were fun when used to have them, but then I think for so long when I played WoW, they didn't have buffs anymore. And now they've added them back, so I just have to get used to using them again. Somebody's playing around with all these little flag markers. They're pretty neat for marking areas, though. I think they're helpful for that. Like when we do things in Lotro, telling you like where to position or something, somebody always has to like run around and jump and do all the instructions that way, where with these markers you can just actually place it, like say at the blue marker, that's where you need to stand. I remember doing this a lot in actual Wrath of the Lich King, but always trying to jump over that, and it seems like you should definitely be able to. But it's like one of those few invisible barrier type things. Wow, I really am slow. I'm the last here. Okay, so I think I will take him to the other side of this, and then when he does the supernova, hide around and get going. Okay, so let's go back to remembering to use my defensive stuff. I guess I can use this avatar thing. Early. I actually do remember, it took a while, but suddenly it just like clicked in my head that I actually remember we had to stay near this, because I think I remember on casters staying near that. Oh, and now the hunter died. That's another thing, I wasn't paying too much attention last time to actually other people, how they were doing or not. I thought with Lightning Nova, though, you just needed to get far away enough, but maybe that's not the case. I also feel like with WoW, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I feel like I'm like trying to press certain keys really quick whenever something pops up. Compared to Lotro, there is... Oh, I might not get far enough away. I did. But I feel like I'm repeatedly pressing certain keys and it gets really loud. I just noticed that. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but it's kind of interesting, I think, comparing the two games. I definitely feel like I do that a lot more in WoW than Lotro. Alright, so I'll try to get another Ignore Pain up, I think. When that Lightning Nova is actually good, gives me a chance to... Oh, that was not good, though. I was going to say it gives me a chance to reset a little bit, but then I actually took all the damage from it. Wow, we got so close to, and that Lightning Nova just did too much. I wasn't quite around the corner, or just not quite far away enough. 800, 700, 500, 400? Well, we got him killed. Everybody died though, but everybody includes the boss this time. Wonder, I guess we got the dungeon done, but we still need to loot the last boss. And I think we all need to individually loot. I don't know if I care about loot that much to try and loot him. I actually need to sell, it looks like. I don't know, I might have another quest turn in as well. I think I just passed the... Oh, I need to loot for the quest, so I'll go ahead and do that. It just takes a little bit. While we are doing this long run, once again, I can summarize maybe a little bit of my thoughts on Warrior. And just so far, I think, first of all, picking the talent Dragon War was unfortunately a mistake. I'm not sure it's quite as fun as I was hoping it would be. I would probably pick Best Served Cold, just as far as funness as a tank. Of course, that's not always the best option because you want to get whatever helps you tank more. I feel like more so than DPS. Like with DPS, I can comfortably pick just whatever's fun, I feel like. At least while leveling in dungeons. And maybe even the talents don't actually affect it that much, but that's just a little bit of what I get. Punish, I haven't even noticed that too much, but makes Shield Slam stronger and reduces damage enemies deal to me for a short duration. Devastator is not something like I personally would like to have, because I at least like having a skill I can always use. War Machine is just generating more rage, which could actually be helpful. I wonder if actually getting that for my auto attacks, if they generate enough rage, that would actually be helpful in getting like my defensive stuff up. I feel like people often run that way, and I'm not sure why. I just have seen a few people do it in this dungeon so far. And once we get out, I can sell, I guess, and open my Icy Satchel. Furry Cage Beast. This is from Warlords of Draenor, that garrison thing. I wonder if I even need the swatch of Priceless Silk. Seems like something I could easily destroy. Oh, 46 copper, don't need that. I feel like I'll need the inventory space for like whatever quest rewards or just something from this guy. Quest rewards or potential loot even. I got a messy inventory. And I think these gloves are going to be an upgrade. They also have a socket if I ever actually get a gem to put in the socket. And it looks like I could get a chest piece, but I have to... I wonder what these contain. Oh, you have to do that at the salvage yard. How about Ravaged Iron Horde belt? I feel fine destroying that. Ooh, that upgraded to epic. So that's, I think, supposed to be about equal to my heirloom item now. Of course, I am, I think, at the max level for the heirlooms. But anyway, I think with Warrior, it kind of still is middle of the pack to me. At least that's what I feel so far, as it only being the first tank I've played, which might sound odd, but I'm hoping I'll enjoy some other tanks more. This one wasn't quite the most fun to me, but I feel like it also does offer a little bit that maybe occasionally I would want to play tank on my Warrior, basically. If I am in the mood for tanking and tanking on a Warrior. But I think next, if I remember correctly, I had Paladin listed next. No, I did not. I had Demon Hunter then Monk, but we'll go ahead and do Paladin. I don't think it really matters which order I do them in. And it sounds like the person Valant on there, if I did dungeons, I would have to do BFA, which probably would not be a good thing for me to tank in because I've never done the Battle for Azeroth dungeons. I actually have done one of them, but yeah, I also do enjoy these other dungeons more in general, so I do plan to stick to that. But Paladin, I need to actually get Paladin set up, and I have no idea if I have a tank weapon. I think if I used to, a lot of them had like item level, or not item level, but level 45 requirements. This character is actually high enough level that I can actually equip a sword and shield. I hope the shield is a tanky one. I don't know. I guess they switch actually the stats between tanking and healing, so that is good. Alright, so got sword and shield, and I have a bunch of talents to pick from. I also probably have a bunch of skills. It looks like I can even get Avenging Wrath as a skill. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to have a ton of skills, it looks like. There's an execute-like skill with Hammer of Wrath. Divine Glory. Turn Evil. Should probably put that over there. Oh, it causes them to flee. Okay. Okay, so got all the general Paladin skills, and I actually do have all the protection skills already, so we're doing pretty good on that. I now just need to look at the talents. Holy Shield sounds fun. I think that's one I used to like just because blocking and attack dealing holy damage was always pretty nice seeming, I suppose, on Paladin. And Ivan, you asked if there's different kind of tanks in WoW. You thought there was only one type of tank. I think there is only one type of tank. That's just tank, but there are different classes that can tank, so they all have different like little play styles and different things they do. I don't know if certain tanks like specialize in certain things. Perhaps like I know at least Druid used to at one point specialized in dodge, and then I even think with health at another point just having really high health. And MP, I definitely agree. One thing nice with WoW is I do not need a bunch of LIs for my different setups on one character. I can equip just like whatever random weapon and gear as long as it's somewhat. Even the stats like change, they're pretty universal between the specs. Like this thing has intellect, or it has strength, but if I switch to healing, it could have intellect. I won't even need to switch that. Some jewelry, so like rings and trinkets and whatever they all aren't like that, but yeah, a lot of the gear pieces are nice and flexible like that. So even outside of like those other things, LIs and that type of stuff in Lotro, it is definitely nice having a lot easier access to switching specs. But anyway, let's go ahead and look, I guess, at the talent. Shield of Righteous increases my strength and stamina by 2%. Such a small amount, but it stacks up to 3 times. So this is, okay, that costs holy power and both does damage and increases my armor. Not sure I would like that one. It seems like something, I don't know, that wouldn't be too fun to me as a tank. And then Blessed Hammer, this one could replace Hammer of the Righteous. It has 3 charges instead of 2, first of all. It has the same recharge time. And I actually throw the hammer outward, dealing damage and reducing the damage they deal to me by 122. So it becomes an AoE. I actually want to pick this just to see how it works. Okay, so it works like that. That's actually kind of interesting. I'm not sure I like the idea of that rather than hitting my enemies, but it seems like something that would just be more fun to use. And useful for AoE, definitely. This is Avenger Shield, hits 2 targets and grants me an Absorb Shield for all the damage dealt. That seems like, wait, what is Avenger Shield? Yeah, that's this one. Forgot the name of this, but this is a useful skill. I think you use it on cooldown, basically does. I think it silences enemies. So it jumps to 2 additional nearby enemies, so it hits 2 additional targets, so it'll hit 5 total, and I think the shield sounds useful. Judgment has 2 charges, and what is Grand Crusader? This is the thing with the warrior that we didn't have to do. I don't know how much you all enjoy the setup part. I like kind of talking through it and just seeing how things work with you all. But it does make it a little bit slower between actual like combat and jumping into the dungeons. Basically, unfortunately, oh, I do have Guardian of the Ancient Kings. I didn't actually remember having that on my skill bar, but anyway. Yeah, and also Vulgar TG. I agree with you that it's much easier swapping specs after the first time because it saves your action bar and talents for each spec. So it's definitely very easy to swap. And once I actually have my character set up, I wouldn't need to do all the setup stuff that I'm like talking about right now. But Grand Crusader is when I avoid a melee attack or use Hammer of the Righteous, I can reset the remaining cooldown on Avenger's Shield. So I think when I do that, if I had Crusader's Judgment, it could also grant a charge of that. So it depends how tanking actually plays with the Paladin, but I'm thinking Crusader's Judgment, as much as useful as Avenger's Shield sounds like, I think Crusader's Judgment sounds more fun to me. So we'll try that, as scary as it kind of is. I don't know why I randomly saw this vendor, so thought I would see if I had anything to sell. And then Amit, you said if I don't mind answering, how useful is crafting an endgame Lotro? So I don't mind answering and talking about that. Crafting is somewhat useful. I don't think a lot of players find it as useful as it used to be. but you can get some decent pieces of gear or armor, or particular slots can be filled by crafting, but you can't generally craft like big sets of armor like you maybe used to be able to. Also in SW Tour, you have to redo your action bars and talents every time you change your spec. That does sound hugely annoying, and does definitely bother me. So I think getting this done, perhaps from Fist of Justice for these, reduces the cooldown of Divine Shield. What is Divine Shield? I know what Divine Shield is, so that's the 5-minute cooldown. That's a big cooldown skill. Ardent Defender and Lay on Hands. Ardent Defender, another defensive cooldown skill. Cavalier is of course fun because Divine Steed, this is something you can just use indoors or wherever for 3 seconds and just run around real fast on a big Elec. But I don't think I will pick that one. Then I could get Blessing of Spell Warding. So I actually think Unbreakable Spirit, just getting a little bit lower cooldown on some of my good stuff would be useful. So Holy Power abilities have a chance to make my next Holy Power ability free and deal increased damage and healing. Cooldown skill and another cooldown skill. Definitely Divine Purpose for me. Oh, so Vulgar. That is a good tip as well with Blessed Hammer. You said it is good, but just be careful with it because the hammer can pull wide mobs. Yeah, I think just looking at it here, it definitely can pull a bunch of mobs, which I think can be fun, but definitely can be dangerous as well. Word of Glory's healing is increased. I actually think, I don't even know where Word of Glory is, but it's something I could actually use on myself. It even says protection if cast on yourself, healing is increased by up to 250% based on my missing health. So that's something I can even use to heal myself. I could also improve concentration, or I could get Judgment causes my next 25 attacks against the target to heal the attacker for 30. I wonder, because I got the 2 charges of Judgment, if that would actually be useful, if I could actually get a decent amount of healing from it. So far I'm thinking that's what I'll pick. I think it's an interesting talent, but... So you recommend Malithor taking Hand of Protector. It can heal me from 15% to 100. If it actually does that much, like if it combines with extra protection amount, I definitely see that being helpful. So I might actually switch that again. Thank you for the tip as well. Then I think you said Word of Glory. Moment of Glory, perhaps? I don't actually see a Word of Glory, but you said that is one that's is always good too with the Protection Paladin. Moment of Glory, I can definitely see that being useful, but I probably won't be picking that one. I actually don't know if I'd ever get much use out of Crusader's Judgment, but that's one thing I will be testing today. Alright, so let's do another Lich King dungeon where this Paladin is. And if you have any recommendations perhaps for any dungeons you want to see, I think I have to pick some PvP talents. But if you have any recommendations for dungeons you want to see, I'm pretty flexible on what I run. Okay, so you meant Hand of Protector, so that is good to go. I actually want to test that. I don't know if I can get on just like the random landscape here, find enough enemies to do enough damage to me real quick, but I do want to test that. Alright, so we have to try to get up to Word of Glory. Oops, I thought I pulled more than this. There we go. Alright, I just gotta let them hit me for a few minutes. Oh, it looks like the dungeon's ready. Let's go ahead and use it and see. Yeah, that got me... It actually crit for 5.4k, so it definitely healed a lot. And that's actually one of the fun styles that I think about Paladin previously was Word of Glory. It's an interesting type of tank ability because it self-heals. And it is... I think having that different playstyle is nice, especially if it actually works. And this is finally a dungeon that we have not done in any of the previous, like, 3 parts. I probably streamed the little mini series so far of all the DPS specs.
See you later.
Like 10 hours or something. Yeah, in Word of Glory it's now actually 7 on my skill bar. Probably, I have no idea what my setup is. I probably have an interrupt somewhere. Oh, Avenger Shield, that interrupts. I really don't need my Garrison ability. But I have my defensive cooldowns up here. For some reason I've gifted the Naru. I'll move that there. Oh, I have another interrupt. We'll move that to shift 1. Oh, I'm really not sure if this setup is that good for my skill bar, but we'll see how it works. A little bit cleaner than the warrior. And one thing with the paladin, I have like paladin tanking. It's been, in general, I think one of the preferred tanks for me throughout my time on WoW. This is a time I'm actually curious how far out the little hammer thing goes. Looks like it's safe right here. Oh, I don't need to pull those. Got too close. I just realized, kind of just remembered after I went too close to them that I didn't need to pull them, but that is okay. Actually, that would have been a time for me to use Word of Glory, I think. There we go. Yeah, it definitely seems like Malithor that Word of Glory is an oh crap button that has no cooldown. So I have a bunch of other oh crap buttons, but they all have cooldowns. I don't think I picked up any of the quests. I know I've done these quests on this character. I did way back when Wrath of the Lich King was actually current content. I did a lot of this. I feel like I'm not using my actual Holy Power Consumer though that much, the shield one. Well, let's see how this fight goes, because there are a lot of mobs here. Oh, I don't think I have aggro on everything. I might now. Alright, I'll use the big lay on hands. I feel like I'm having a little bit of a rough time here. Go ahead and use Word of Glory again. I actually do feel like Word of Glory, I know I haven't used it all that much, but I do feel like it's been helpful in this little bit of period here. I wonder if my hammer actually is one of the things that pulled so many there. Yeah, the spin on the Blessed Hammer, I would totally be fine with that as well. Do I have a taunt? Actually, there's my taunt. I'll move my taunt somewhere more usable on the skill bar. But yeah, if the Blessed Hammer did not have that large of a radius, I definitely would not mind. So, Hansu, you give me permission, it sounds like, to bubble Hearth out up here, if I do need to. I already used Lay on Hands, so that's one of my tricks that's already done. So we're one step closer to bubble Hearthing. I really feel like I don't really need the second charge of Judgment. I actually have no idea how frequently I should even use Judgment. Compared to a Warrior, it had a little bit more structure of use your Rage and use Ignore Pain or the other shield blocking one. Oh, maybe I do have the quests here. I kind of remembered picking up quests.
I have done as you asked, and now beseech you for your blessing.
But yeah, I think I missed a couple items now, but that's okay. Probably other people actually getting them.
To your obedience, indeed you are worthy of this charge. Arise, and forever be known as Svala Sorrowgrave.
The sensation is beyond my imagining. I am yours to
Binging Wrath. That one increases my damage, healing, and critical strike chance.
Your first
Gotta remind myself what all these cooldowns actually do. So Ardent Defender, this actually can prevent me from dying, it looks like. And it'll bring me to 20% health if I would be killed. And it also just reduces the damage I take, so that's a good emergency button. Seems like there's a lot of emergency buttons in general with the Paladin. I know my warrior did have a few, but it does seem like I have a good amount of those on the Paladin here. In addition to, once again, Word of Glory doing a lot of healing on its own. But yeah, I think I still do enjoy Paladin tanking so far. The only thing is, I like Blessed Hammer, I like the way it actually plays out, but I do miss actually whacking the enemies with my weapon with that. With whatever the skill was it replaced, Hammer of the Righteous or something, I think. Oops, that was the Earth Elemental that I was about to chase. That was just a fading shaman thing. It's also really weird actually having 3 charges with Blessed Hammer. That's just kind of weird to me again. Judgment, that one seems like it does a lot of damage, so it's probably useful to use pretty frequently. Alright, I think we are good enough to pull 2 groups at once. I know as a DPS that is something I would want to do. I gotta keep them in mind sometimes with dungeons. Also, isn't this supposed to do something? Maybe it's Hammer of the Righteous that does something if I'm actually standing. Well, probably shouldn't be spending all this time here to skin, but I don't know what else a Paladin's supposed to do. Plus I can catch up, well, I can catch up to the quest items. But I can catch up with Cavalier, at least. One more quest item. It's so nice that they make them glow so bright around the border with quest items. Very easy to get the shiny baubles and the such. The main thing I feel like I'm actually having trouble with as the Paladin tank is my holy power management. I'm guessing I need to keep that as high as possible and then just use Shield of Righteous to basically dump the holy power and otherwise save any holy power I need for Word of Glory. Here is a little figurine, Jade statue, that's what that one is. I think I just hit them all like too late. They almost all dropped aggro on me really quick there. That's one thing compared with the warrior. I was able to charge into combat a lot easier on the warrior. Here I do have Cavalier, or Divine Steed, not Cavalier, that's the name of the talent. But Divine Steed. Wonder if I have time to loot this quest item real quick.
I'm out of range.
Oh, somebody, I kind of forgot how this boss activated. I thought it just activated when you got close enough, but it's actually that item that somebody used there. And it will, as far as I know, trigger one of these big giant beast thingies at once. I don't know what the significance is with the just large variety of these beasts here. There's whatever the one we just killed, oh, actually I forgot what that was. It's there it is right there, Rhino. And then there was, or this one's a Furbog, which is, I actually don't know, maybe there are some Furbogs. I always want to call them Furlbogs, but they're Furbogs. Those remind me of like Winter Spring. And then there's the other ones, the worm thing, and also a, once again can't think of what that kind of, not werewolf, it's almost werewolf-like thing is, but really can't think of what they're called. They're actually a playable race, and I just can't think of the name of them. Organ, that's what it is, an organ. Then this part, Skadi the Ruthless, I don't know how the balance is. That'll be something interesting to see with us, but I know in previous versions of WoW, sometimes this is really challenging, and sometimes it's been really easy, this fight. But just like the whole running through type thing, so I'll be interested to see how this goes, and it looks like everybody is ready, so we can get going. So far it looks like we're handling it fine. Again, I don't really remember if you pull all the elites at once if they actually do all that much, but that does not look to be the case here. I am slowed by something. It looks like I actually have a hamstring on me. We need to avoid the bad gassy place. Okay, this is actually causing, it looks like, a little bit of trouble for my group though, which is not good. But once we get the, I think they'll start dropping the harpoons and we can get the boss shot down. I should probably loot the quest item, actually. Go ahead and get my quest done in the middle of the boss fight. I don't know if somebody already looted. I would assume that somebody did. I would have assumed somebody shot him down with a harpoon. I probably need to stay down here to tank these ads whenever they come. I think I do have a harpoon though once he gets back in range. Okay, it looks like he is in range. There we go. Go ahead and use Avenging Wrath. Somebody is taking a lot of damage from something. There it is. Oh, that spinny thing's probably not good. I don't know why I need the harpoon. I can actually sell that. I wonder if I have anything that's extra strong against undead as protection. I know Ret gets that ability that I think stuns and does extra damage to undead if I remember correctly, or maybe just stuns them now, but I wonder if there's anything that I could actually be using. I don't think I have a control undead or anything like that, but yeah. And hello, Christopher Caballeros. You asked, oops, I think we can actually jump through there and don't need to pull this mob. That's twice I've hit a skippable mob. I think everybody did jump down. Few people did. But you can also skip, if you do this, I think you can skip that group over there as well. And it used to be, way back when this was a heroic, I remember actually you could run into some trouble with these groups of mobs, at least maybe when the heroics were fairly new, or when the expansion pack was fairly new. Gotta make sure everybody follows. Looks like they did. Somebody got level 30 in the group. But you said you were about to start Lotro again, and you're wondering if I have any suggestions for a server. So I personally play on Arkenstone. It's a fairly popular server. If you are on EU though, or play EU time, all the servers I should say are physically located in Boston. So as far as like potential latency or lag improvements by playing on an EU server, if you're even EU. Ooh, and I should have had an emergency button ready. I was taking all that damage, but unfortunately I just don't have all my stuff set up good for keybinds on this character. I don't know if we have anybody. I guess nobody with an in-combat res. We just pulled a bunch there, which could have been my Blessed Hammer. I'm actually not sure. That could have pulled a bunch there. Oh, it looks like somebody got mad and left the dungeon group.
Hello. Safe travels.
I actually feel like the run's been going pretty well so far. Besides that, that was just a lot of damage, which I didn't have. If I had my cooldowns again, perhaps that could have gone better. But otherwise for servers, I personally play on Arkenstone and I like the server. It's pretty well populated. And I can't speak from personal experience on other servers, but some people I know like Landreval. Especially if you're not as much into endgame, maybe you're even a little bit interested in role-playing or anything like that, it could be a potential choice. We have a long way to run back. Hopefully all the dungeons don't go like this. I really don't like wiping, especially when I feel like there's something I could have done to prevent that, which is one of the things I guess I got to get used to as trying to tank again. It's one of the scary things. I did mention this, I think, a lot during the Warrior and at the beginning of the stream, is just because there's a lot of dependence on the group as a tank, and it's been so long since I've tanked, it's going to take me a little bit, I think with each class even, to just get used to tanking in general. And I see it's already getting close to an hour and a half in the stream. I might not quite get a chance to do every class, and Christopher, you said you'll hit up Arkenstone. I think that's a good server, and hopefully he'll enjoy it there. But yeah, with the total number of classes I need to do today, there's 6 tanks. I'm not sure if I can quite get to them, all of them, so I might actually shuffle the order around a little bit more and do Death Knight and Druid next. I don't expect to like Demon Hunter tank, so I might skip that one altogether. Somebody died. I actually have no idea how. I guess I can res them. There's my res. Oh, we got some mobs here. Okay. Hopefully the healer is alive and actually here and didn't like totally respawn. I wonder if they use their battle res thing or their self res. The shaman one, the Ankh one. Or I actually don't even know exactly what it's called. I've always called it the Ankh res ANKH. Well, it looks like these boots are a huge upgrade from mine, and the chest piece is a big upgrade. Now this upgrade gear that I didn't even know about. Well, maybe that'll help a little bit at least. Alright, so it looks like, well, we're still waiting for one person. We could probably go if people are good to go, but oh no, oh, we're waiting for the, I thought we were waiting for a, wow, we actually only pulled one of these. I thought this mob was in a group. I keep clicking the Conjured Mana Strudels on accident. But yeah, we need to try to pull one of these at once, I think. Or just pull this big group at once. Alright, let's see if I can do a line of sight thing. but definitely want to pull them back so I don't hit everything. Now, I'm already forgetting where my interrupt is. Okay, it's shift 1. But I think I'll be ready. I'll try to be a bit more ready to actually use something like Word of Glory if I need to. And my other cooldowns that I could have used the other time. That's why I feel like there were definitely things I could have done better about the last fight we had, because I didn't use any of my cooldowns in that fight. Not just like ignoring Word of Glory. I also have a stun somewhere that Ethan could have utilized that probably. Nice thing about my pulling skill though, Avenger Shield, is it does silence them, so any ranged spellcaster would actually have to run up in melee. I don't remember this boss's mechanics in Heroic compared to the normal version. I remember in the Heroic version I thought it was a little bit different, but when he ran like and did his thing here, I kind of remember for some reason there being more to that maybe in the Heroic version, but I don't remember exactly. My health is pretty low right now. Go ahead and can use my own Word of Glory, even though the Earth Elemental is actually tanking right now. Get a little bit of a break from the tanking. And it looks like we picked up some ads. I think all of them will just get hit in AoE. And Bane, I don't remember exactly what that does. Somebody actually removed the curse. I think what I could remove is poison and disease, it looks like. Taking a lot of damage. I was thinking about using my bubble or something. If I keep taking damage, you know, it looks like I just took that a little bit. But yeah, it should be quick, I think, to go ahead and use a couple Word of Glories, and that really does get my health up pretty quickly. Wow, using Guardian of the Kings and just a few Word of Glories really helped there. I thought I'd have to use another cooldown. But that ended up all good with the boss fight. We just had that little bit of issue with one pull right before the boss. And did I get anything useful? I got upgrade gloves by 1 whole strength. I might need to leave the dungeon, I guess, to turn in the quest so I can just teleport out and back in. But yeah, with Paladin overall, I definitely enjoyed it more than Warrior. I think just the tanking style on them, with the self-healing, first of all, with something like Word of Glory, but also just all the holiness, I think is fun theme for tanking. The question is, do I want crit or haste? Haste sounds fun. I think that sounds, I actually have no idea if I want one or the other, but that sounded more fun to me. Fortunately, that means I have to have this helmet equipped, but I guess I could fix that with Transmog. Alright, so done with this character, we can move on to, I think, what did I just say? Death Knight? Let me get the rested XP area, but I think Death Knight and Warrior potentially next. Or we already did Warrior. Death Knight and Druid. Druid's one I'm really excited for because I've always liked bear tanking on the Druid. So I'm excited to try that one. But Monk is another one. I have enjoyed that. I probably skipped Death Knight today. So I think, or Death Knight, Demon Hunter. Getting all my classes and words mixed up right here, but skipping Demon Hunter for sure. I might skip Monk. I do like Monk tanking. Or at least have in the past. I really don't know. I shouldn't say for Battle for Azeroth, but I don't think I quite enjoyed it quite as much in Legion. And we're doing another Lich King dungeon. I did not actually mean to have all these classes. I guess all my tanks just happened to line up for Lich King, which is okay. I think all these dungeons are fun, but again, if anybody wants me to change it up a little bit, I can definitely look into doing that maybe. But before I already queued, and I queued as a DPS, but I need to actually get this character's tanking set up. So we'll see. I'm probably missing a lot of Death Knight, general Death Knight skills. So we'll get all this stuff I don't need out of the way. So Death's Advance, I think that'll be my movement speed. Chains of Ice slows the enemy, I believe, yeah. And it costs a rune. Anti-Magic Shell reduces spell damage. That is going to be useful buff, I believe. I'll put the group one on the right side, I think. This increases my defenses, so I'll put it up here. Or I'll try putting it down here for now. This is my Interrupt. This is another class. I feel like the Interrupt, I have a lot of things in WoW that I like to put at shift 1, even though I also like my Interrupt there. Death Coil, I'd probably rather use Death Strike over Death Coil unless I'm in like range, so I'll just set this somewhere out of the way for now. Iceborne Fortitude, another defensive buff. This one's 3 minutes and just reduces damage I take, but also immune to stun effects. Lichborn increases leech and makes me immune to charm, fear, and sleep. Alright, a whole bunch of defensive cooldowns here, because leech, that means I can heal. And Raise Dead, I actually do get to summon a ghoul. So I wonder if it would be best to put my defensive cooldowns. I'll try and keep them down here because they're definitely easier to use. And Raise Ally, I should move this somewhere where I can actually reasonably use it. Anti-Magic Cell absorbs magic damage. I should try to keep that in mind and use that occasionally. Perhaps I should I think I'll put Icebound Fortitude and Lichborn up there as well. I feel like those are the two that would make sense to go up there a little bit. Just for my own organization of the skills. Rune Tap reduces damage I take by 20%. Costs a rune. I wonder if that's something I would try to keep up or use, actually utilize the charges, or just use it if there's some predictable damage. Veteran of the Third War. Wow, if I get 2 more levels, I can have my stamina increased by 30%. But that is, I do have all the Death Knight skills, so I can finally look at the talents, which will take a minute. But we can do that. So this can consume Bone Shield charges to give me runic power and a bubble, it looks like. I believe Bone Shield itself increases my armor and increases my haste. Each melee attack against me consumes a charge, okay. I'm not sure if I'd actually like that tombstone. Blood Drinker, it just drains health from the target, and I can move, parry, dodge, and use defensive abilities while channeling that. That's pretty neat. Heartbreaker just makes Heart Strike generate additional runic power. I think Blood Drinker sounds neat, but I think I'll go with Heartbreaker. Rapid Decomposition. My Blood Plague and Death and Decay deal more damage, and they leech more health. I didn't even know Blood Plague leached health. And hello, Eamon. And thank you for the super chat, the $10 tip. I definitely appreciate that, and you had a fun fact that tanks are the best and to play a tank. I should say tanks are the best and play a tank. So I do like tanking. I'm not always in the mood for it, but I do agree that tanking can definitely be fun. But again, thank you for the tip there. I really do appreciate it. It helps with my channel and my channel growth. That basically anything like that goes back into my channel. But to continue with the talents, we have Hemostasis, Each enemy hit by blood boil increases the damage and healing in my next death strike. Okay. And this is consumption. Strikes a bunch of enemies and heals me for a lot of the damage dealt. Actually, I remember this used to be the skill that actually goes with the weapon I have equipped. What is it, like Maw of the Damned? Yeah, so this is item level 20. It's probably not that good then. Would probably rather Footman's War Mace equipped. I also like the look of it better. It matches my outfit. It's a little bit interesting because it's an Outland. I think it's from Hellfire Citadel. And it's technically a polearm, I think, but it's almost a sword type polearm. But anyway, what is Blood Plague? So it actually does drain health at leeches. That's pretty neat. I know one of the things with Blood Death Knight is they did a lot of healing, a little bit different, I think, than the Paladin. It seems a lot like leeching type thing, where the Paladin was just raw healing. But consumption, I think, is fun. It's just on a 30-second cooldown. Of course, it's a big thing on a 30-second cooldown, but I'm almost wondering if something a little bit more passive could be better. All these talents sound fun, and this is one of the examples for me that I have to pick on WoW. Whenever I pick a talent, I feel sad about the ones I don't pick, and I think this row really highlights that, rather than good about the one I do pick. Maybe consumption. That's just, even on a longish cooldown at 30 seconds, I think it's too fun. Is there ever a time I actually want to use Death's Caress over Blood Boil, since it both apply Blood Plague? I guess if I'm out of range, just pulling something with Death's Caress could be good there. So level 30 talents. Bone Shield increases my max health. That sounds fun. And then while Crimson Scourge is active, my Death and Decay heals me for 98 health per Bone Shield charge, and I immediately gain 10 runic power. So I have no idea what Crimson Scourge is. Is it just my auto attacks on targets infected with Blood Plague have a chance to make my next Death and Decay, cost no runes, and reset its cooldown? Okay, so I probably won't pick that, even though it sounds good. Then Blood Tap. Consume the essence around me to generate a rune, and recharge time is reduced by 2 seconds whenever a Bone Shield charge is consumed. I actually wonder if this would trigger frequently, where I could actually generate a lot of runes from this, but I'm thinking Fallible Work. That sounds good to me. Then I reduce my damage taking below 30% health, reduce the cooldown of anti-magic shell, and increase the amount absorbed, and then I can place a mark of blood on an enemy. So their damaging auto attacks will heal their victim for 3% of the victim's maximum health. That is kind of weird, because then the enemy dealing damage will heal. Honestly, that one to me sounds like the most exciting. I just don't know. It seems like a skill. I already have a ton of skills, so I'm actually not sure how much I would actually enjoy that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll get Will of the Necropolis, especially because from the Warrior and Paladin going down below 30% health seem to be frequent event. Okay, so this is, I think I like Tightening Grasp because you can pull all the enemies in an area. Wraithwalk would be neat, just to have increased movement speed for a little bit. Even Grip of the Dead, slowing enemies, and Death and Decay. So Death Strike will heal me for even more and grant me Leech. Death Pact, I think this one heals me for a lot and then absorbs incoming healing. I'm actually kind of remembering some of these talents. They seem pretty similar. That's why I'm able to go through some of these quickly. And then my auto attacks have a chance to summon a Bloodworm. I think that sounds good, having a little pet type thing. But they deal minor damage, and then burst, healing me for 15% of my missing health. And if I'm below 50% health, they will immediately burst and heal me. I don't know, I think Voracious, this one sounds good, but it sounds also unreliable in a way. I think Voracious sounds good. Also, granting me the Leech, that just seems like a fun thing. Oh, PvP talents, but I think we are set up on this character and looked at all the talents. Again, it's going to be a Lich King dungeon, because I think it's fun to go through them as a Death Knight. It's thematic for that, but again, I do just like find them fun to begin with. If only I could equip Oh, I can actually equip Apocalypse? Requires Unholy. It requires Unholy, but it let me equip it. It's technically a little bit better than this weapon. I know Maw of the Damned, the old blood one. That one's just very low item level for me. What did we get? We got a Royal Escort. We have done this a few times now. I think this is a pretty fun one as well, now that you can skip all the roleplay, because everybody's, well, not everybody, I definitely shouldn't say that, but a lot of people have already done the RP elements of this. Kind of where it goes through the whole story. But we can, I believe we can skip it, or we cannot skip it. I wonder if when I accepted the quest that didn't skip it, but I'm pretty sure you could skip this at one point. Maybe they changed that. Looks like the Druid's going really quickly about destroying the grain crates, and it looks like I got dismounted just by clicking that. But I guess I wonder if it really is because I picked up the quest, but it looks like a couple other people picked up the quest, so probably okay. Oh, I guess I thought it meant like I individually have to just do one of these. I know once everybody does them, it looks like that's how the quest actually advances now. But this part doesn't take too long overall. We do get to the Scourge Waves and get that started. Looks like somebody's just joining in the dungeon. But anyway, with this whole thing, I never actually looked and reminded myself. I didn't remind myself how Death Knight actually plays and what my abilities do. But I think in general, Heartstrike, Marrowmend, perhaps Marrowmend, use that to keep up Bone Shield, and then Heartstrike to maybe dump runes if I have a bunch of extra runes somehow. And if I'm in AoE, I think if I'm in Death and Decay, it'll make that AoE, at least it used to. Yeah, while I remain in the area, Heartstrike will hit additional targets. And Blood Boil, use that to get Blood Plague in AoE. And then Death Strike will heal me a lot. And Consumption will also deal a lot of AoE damage and heal me, it looks like. So I think that's a quick rundown on my skills from what I can tell. And we already have a Scourge Wave active. It looks like pretty much everybody's here besides that one person that joined in a little bit late, so we can go ahead and get them all pulled. Alright, let's try the skill Consumption. Alright, that I didn't really notice too much of an effect of it, but could have been I just didn't have my health up at the time, or something with that. Okay, Death and Decay again. I wonder how many charges of Bone Shield can I have? Oh, it doesn't actually say. Where's Scourge Wave? I can't see it on the map, so that probably means it's to the northeast. It says Town Hall, so that's actually overlap the bosses where the flag usually is on the map. Death Knight tanking, I don't know why, but it's really fun to me. And it doesn't make much sense why it is, but it's just, I think, a fun tank to play. Looks like we have to go way back now for the next wave. And Eamon, you said you think it is up to 10. And unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about. Could be Consumption, because I know that, not the chat, but the stream is delayed a little bit, just maybe like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or something. But perhaps what you might be talking about is Consumption, or the Heartstrike thing. Yeah, so I definitely agree that the self-sufficiency is nice, and the tanking with a two-hander is also pretty fun, I think, not using a sword and shield. or, well, sword and board, but a one-hander and shield, rather. Oh, up to 10 stacks of bone shield. That makes sense. That was something I was talking about. But that is good to know. I didn't actually see... I still don't see anywhere where it says the max amount. I wonder if I actually look... Might have something here about it. Don't see anything about it, but... That is good to know. I don't know if I could ever actually get to 10 stacks. I was just kind of curious. Seems like it would be good to get the haste of that, though. At least keep that up. Partially for the haste. Looks like we get a bunch of these acolytes. And I mean for the haste as far as like making me do things faster. Of course the defensive boost from it would be nice.
I'm out of range.
Playtime.
Playtime? That must mean it is meat hook. I remember rune weapon back when blood, I think there was a point where blood could DPS. And if I remember correctly, rune weapon was an actual cooldown they had. But I remember having a lot of fun with that, trying to do things like get all the different damage over time effects and duplicate those. It looks like I'm at 10 stacks and I used Marrow Mend and it gave me no more stacks, so a little bit of confirmation on that. I didn't know I could actually get that many stacks that easily. Somebody full aggro for me, it looked like briefly. The only comment I would say about Blood is if it were a DPS spec, there are a couple of times, I think like the other Death Knight specs, where there's a little bit of downtime, but that's really okay, especially as a tank when you have to keep track of a bunch of things. A little bit of downtime as a tank, as far as like having cooldowns or whatever, I think is okay. Looks like I'm taking a lot of damage, but we have a bunch of different things to help with that. Oh, my health is actually really low. There we go, now I'm getting it healed up. As far as the next wave, looks like we have not had the next wave called yet. Town Hall. So Eamon, you said if I want to get my stacks up quickly, I can activate magic weapon. I'm guessing what you actually mean is what I just used, the dancing rune weapon. So that's probably how I got it up so quick, because that duplicates my attack. So yeah, it does sound like both of those will give me my stacks of bone shield. So that is good to know as well. I know it duplicated the different AoE and damage over time effects, which I always thought was helpful. But it's good to know that it also does give me Marrow Mend really quickly, or give me Bone Shield from Marrow Rend. There we go, I forgot the actual name. And I just used Consumption when there were no enemies nearby. That was a big waste of that cooldown. I really like this weapon. I don't know why, but for a polearm, it doesn't really feel polearmy. It really feels more swordy. I think it's a polearm. But it's just a neat weapon that actually makes it a little bit more fun, I think, to play this character. I also think my outfit in general is more Blood Death Knight themed compared to the other two specs that we played with the Death Knight. Town Hall. We are really getting a lot of back and forth with these. Kind of bad luck with that, just means a lot of running around. Sometimes the different Scourge waves will basically spawn on top of you and it just makes it go by a little bit quicker. I should also probably use Raise Dead every once in a while and get a ghoul that lasts a minute. There we go, we finally got one. That's near where we already are. I think we have the boss next, or maybe one more wave, then the boss? No, it looks like the boss just came. Oh, so he's going to be ranged. Okay, let's use, oops, there. Now let's use the rune weapon and get, we got a lot of stacks of the bone shield there. Steel Flesh, the ability this guy just used, that almost sounds like it could be a Death Knight type thing. I guess if I have all my stacks of Bone Shield, it probably is better to use Heart Strike, even if I'm not getting the AoE benefit, it would seem like. Because this gives me 3 charges of Bone Shield, so I could basically not use it if I have at least 8 charges, and otherwise just use Heart Strike. Oh, I guess I didn't get any loot. Kept trying to loot, but then maybe the glowing part, maybe the gold, that's what I looted. But it's good to know, at least if I am looking to tank, that I have found that I like Death Knight. It's, I think, by far my favorite so far. Not that Paladin was that bad, or even that Warrior was that bad. I'm just really enjoying the Death Knight. And again, I think it's kind of similar, as Eamon mentioned, the self-sustenance, that's what I was going to call it, but you said self-sufficiency. But it's one of the things about the Warden in old days of Lothar when they were more viable tanking. Even now, solo, or when I can tank stuff on Wardens, it's one of the things I really like about is the self-sustain and how much you can heal yourself. Oh, so Heart Strike gives me more runic power for the runic power for Heart Strikes. Wait, for more Death Strikes, yeah. So that actually does make sense. I kind of remember reading that on the skill but forgot about, so if I keep my Bone Shield up maybe and then focusing more on Heart Strikes, I can get more runic power. And I think I've kind of noticed that, but haven't really correlated the two, I guess. That it seemed like when I was spamming Heart Strike, that it seemed like I was able to use Death Strike more, but I also thought it was just all the AoE stuff going on. Maybe I just like generated more runic power because of that. But that is good to know and good to keep in mind, that it not only is useful, it just seemed like for fun, being able to press it more often than Marrow Rend and doing more damage, but the runic power as well. So Demon Hunter has a lot of self-sustain. The problem with Demon Hunter is I've never really enjoyed them as a class as a whole. I think I do remember that though. And I really find that weird with the Demon Hunter, because the Death Knight, it's not like a type of class that I feel like I would enjoy just based on the class fantasy, but I actually do. I think they're fun to play. They're almost a little bit necromancer-y, which in games that have necromancer-like things, I'm not always a big fan of them, but sometimes I like that and like that idea, so I'm thinking perhaps maybe that has a little bit to do with it. It's just something that's a little bit unique. Of course, Demon Hunter and all these other classes are unique, but if I compare it to some other games that I have experience in, hopefully, oh no, those two. Maybe these two are melee and these two are ranged. It doesn't matter because the DPS killed them anyway. Alright, back in the Death and Decay area, now that it's gone. One of the things I do wish that with WoW is if you had ground target abilities like Death and Decay, is if you could just press the keybind for it again and it'll drop it wherever your mouse cursor is. That's one of the things I do like about Liftar with using AoE ground target abilities that makes it a bit easier to use them. So I think we get one more wave of ads here. I really don't know the point of using Blood Boil twice in a row besides damaging the enemies though. Because I keep up the Blood Plague. Hello Megalith Doomslayer, and yes, this is a human Death Knight. Louis spelled with 2 O's instead of a U. This is the same Death Knight that I made, basically when the Death Knights were released with Wrath of the Lich King. Oh, so Eamon, you said there are actually mouse over macros that can let me drop my abilities at my cursor with the keybind. That would... oh, there we go. That would be good, but I was not actually ready to fight this boss after that. It is good to know. I might look into that if it's something that really annoys me. I would guess if there are macros for it, there are probably add-ons for it as well. I know add-ons in general with WoW are a lot easier to manage than... ooh, somebody died. I wonder if it's worth rezzing them. How long's the cooldown on Raise Ally? I'll go ahead and use it. Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't even use Dancing Rune Weapon. I kind of forgot about that for a minute. So once my runes come up, I'll actually use that. How is that guy dying? Is it just like some random ability from the boss? Maybe it wasn't worth resing him if he was going to get killed anyway. So this one gives me dodge. I think it's an upgrade for tanking, but probably not an upgrade for not tanking. It's a problem with stats like dodge. It just doesn't really translate as well to DPS. Also don't know why Raise Ally is way over there. Oh, I have another copy of it on my skill bar way down here. I'm still getting used to that, at least with the default WoW UI here. Getting used to having this bar section kind of separate.
If the undead don't kill us, the fires might.
Yeah, not being able to use Death's Grip while moving. Not Death's Grip, but Death Grip while moving has been a little bit odd. Power Strike. I didn't know what the actual debuff was, but it looks like it reduces enemy movement speed. And Eamon, I have tried Gorfin's Grasp. It is definitely nice. It has a 1.5 minute cooldown though, that's the only thing. I feel like I don't use it frequently because I know it has a long cooldown, so I just feel like I need to save it for when I really need it. Maybe I can use it if there are like spellcasters or just a bunch of ranged enemies. I definitely agree, it's really nice for grouping a bunch of ads when something like that could come up. So let's actually try it here. And yeah, just getting everything in that little pile, it does make it easier to AoE them and all that, and I'll actually use my 6 ability. That, unfortunately, just doesn't seem like it heals all that much. It heals me for 150%, so if I hit like 5 enemies in front of me, that should do 1k damage. Should, I think, heal a somewhat noticeable amount at least, but I just don't really notice my health bar moving up every time I've used it. From what I remember in Legion, when you actually had the artifact and it was an artifact ability, I thought I healed for a little bit more. Relative to what it does now, at least. But I could just be misremembering that. I also feel like I may be saving it too much for when I need the healing. Perhaps it's also just good for like straight up AoE damage. Feels kind of wasteful to use Blood Boil on these little enemies. I'm somehow used to running the heroic version of this, where there would be the other boss over there.
Market Row has not caught fire yet. Mal'Ganis is supposed to be in Crusader Square, which is just ahead. Tell me when you're ready to move forward.
It's a long time since I was running these heroics. I think on one character, I don't remember which character, but one of my leveling characters I stopped actually at level 80 and ran all the Wrath of the Lich King heroics that I could find groups for before I outleveled it. I don't remember actually which character I did that on. I'm thinking Druid, but I also don't think that's the case. I think it was somebody else. But yeah, just because I like these dungeons so much, I thought it'd be fun to try to run. Oh.
It's too far away.
Did I just, like, not get aggro, I think? I think that was totally my fault with the DPS dying. He said oops, so maybe he did do something, but I probably could have definitely gotten the aggro quicker. So, Eamon, you said in Legion, it gave the entire party leech? I did not know that. That's pretty crazy. And you said there were Mythic Plus groups of Warlocks with a Death Knight tank that didn't need healers. That's pretty neat. It's an interesting change of pace, I think, for WoW, but I'm guessing almost unintended. Maybe it was intended that Death Knights, like Death Knight tanks, could actually run without healers, especially with Warlocks. I think they also have some self-sustenance type things, and they even have the Soul Stone for reses and things like that. Health Stone as well. Let's not be asleep. But yeah, Death Knight was perhaps surprisingly fun with blood to me here. Yeah, don't think this is an upgrade over anything. I think I did end up getting the quests on this character, so I think I can turn them into somebody. Maybe they'll eventually pop up. Should loot the chest.
Anything that Mal'Ganis has left behind is yours. Take it as your reward.
Got more pants again. This one would be more universal to other specs, so I'll go ahead and equip it. Which means my pants don't match my outfit anymore, but I don't think my boots do either. Maybe the quest in person will eventually spawn here. Oh, there we go. I forgot it was Chromium that they actually flew in dragon form. All this for Gauntlets of the Cooling. Actually do look useful though. They give me... lose a little bit of secondary stats actually. Plus then I'd lose Legion Mining, as useful as that enchantment is with me doing no Legion content. But anyway, I think I will switch now to... I'll try to do... Oh, where is this character? Lights Hope Chapel. So I'll go into the inn so I can continue to get rested XP. I don't even know, this character might have rested XP all the way to level 50. I don't remember if there's still a 2 level cap, but I'll do Druid now. And depending on how this goes, I might get to Monk after this, but we'll go ahead and get done with Druid. And yeah, these tanks are just unfortunately taking a little bit longer than kind of I expected. At least the first one, Warrior, that one took a long time. And Paladin even took a little bit. That Death Knight dungeon was super quick, I felt like. So we'll see, maybe I can get 2 more tanks in before I have to get going. But yeah, I'm thinking probably just Druid. I don't want to get anybody's hope up. And maybe when I do the healers, I might even do another part of the last 2 tanks for whoever next WoW stream I do with finding classes I like. I feel like I'm going to spend all of Shadowlands still doing these streams of finding classes I like. But anyway, with Druid, I logged on my Druid. That much I did. I think I got all my skills on my skill bar, so all that is already set up. I have no idea what anything does besides from what I remember from previous versions of Druid. But just to briefly talk about Druid, I'm really excited for this one because I love Druid tanking, specifically in Mists of Pandaria. I don't think I played it quite as much in Warlords of Draenor or Legion. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see if I enjoy it as much. And I think for this character, we'll get a little bit of a change of pace with something different than Wrath of the Lich King. I'm thinking right now Mists of Pandaria dungeons, because that is when I enjoy Druid tanking. So I thought it'd be fun to revisit those. But we can look at some of the abilities. It looks like Swipe is just something I can spam. It's almost like that one skill that Warriors had that was single target though. But I think using Mangle pretty frequently is good for damage. Thrasage and AoE, damage over time, and Moonfire. I actually really like that you can use that in bear form. It's pretty neat. So that one is good for the damage over time as well. I don't think it counts as a bleed for Mangle. Thrash is the one that bleeds. Can stack over up to 3 times, okay. And then Maul. One thing I'm curious is if you can actually use Thrash. I remember there was something about doing this, using the Thrash in cat form and then the one in bear form, but it doesn't look like those overlap. I kind of enjoyed when you could sometimes briefly switch to cat form and while actually tanking. At least I remember doing that at some point, but we can go ahead and look at the talents. And this one is I bristle my fur, generating rage based on damage I take. That one sounds really boring to me. And then Thrash just generating some rage each time it deals damage. That sounds a lot more fun to me. And then it looks like I can reflect up some damage with Brambles. And while Barkskin is active, Brambles also deals more damage. Or it does nature damage to all nearby enemies every 1 second. So Barkskin is a 1-minute cooldown. I think Blood Frenzy, getting the rage from that sounds fun. Now, I wonder if every time... I have no idea what's going on with this character's outfit, by the way, but... What are my gloves, anyway? Claws of Ursoc, I would say I can probably get better weapons, because those are really low item level. I can probably craft... Well, not craft myself, but... What level is this character? 45? There used to be some vendor weapons, or something that you could get... All my characters have like these level 45 weapons, but this one. But I think I can get better earloom, or a better earloom two-hander. It's higher item level, and I think there's no reason to really use the artifact if they're not really getting anything. And sorry, Megalus, actually I forgot about your message. I briefly read it when I was switching to Druid, but you said nowadays you can just, pyroblast the boss, which is fun. I do play Fire Mage, so I like pyroblasting bosses. Yeah, there's nothing else with the gear, so we can get back to talents here. Tiger Dash, I don't know, I think Renewal is good to just heal me, especially as a tank, just having something that can quickly heal me no matter what form I'm in. And then also, I usually like getting, even though I just mentioned switching to cat form can be fun in the middle of tanking, but I like getting Restoration Affinity, I think. I wonder if Astral Influence, it says increases the range of all your abilities. I wonder if that actually make all these melee range things increase by 3 yards. Movement speed could actually be nice, I think, if I go Feral. But then I think Ysera's Gift and Restoration is just most useful overall. I also do get Swift Mend, Oh, I have to actually have a heal over time effect on me, but it's something I could use to heal myself if I really need to. So I'll go with that for now at least. Which I say for now, and then I only do one dungeon. It's not like I can switch my talents in the middle, but we can revise afterwards. The Mighty Bash, I think getting this done from that. I think that's usually what I get, but yeah, that sounds most useful from those. I know with the talents, I go into detail on some of them, but ones like that, I feel like I can pick pretty quickly. So aim and use of balance affinity does increase range of melee abilities. That's pretty neat. I'd be kind of curious how far that actually is. We can actually test that now. I wonder if I can use... Yeah, that is weird. This is super weird that I can hit the enemy this far though. Interface action failed because of an add-on. I wonder what add-on that is. I don't have... All I have is Trade Skill Master set up. These are all old add-ons that I definitely don't use anymore. A lot of them. Or a lot of them don't even work, but... I don't know why there would be an interface action that failed because of that. But anyway, I don't even think... Do I have that? I do have that loaded on this character. But anyway... That's actually pretty neat, but I think I will go with Restoration Affinity. Soul of the Forest. Mangle generates more rage and does more damage. That sounds good for Mangle. Damage has a chance to trigger a free automatic moonfire that hits the target. And then when that occurs, the next moonfire I cast generates 8 rage and does increase damage. I wonder... 5%. My damage has a 5% chance to trigger. That sounds like a small chance to trigger though. But I will say it sounds more exciting maybe than Soul of the Forest, so we'll just try it and see how it works out. Then for the last row that I have available, actually just looking at the talents in the very last row, the level 50 row, they just look like they have interesting icons, so I do want to look at them real quick. This one reduces the target's damage to me, increases my damage to them, each stack of Thrash. And then auto attacks have a chance to empower Maul, stacking up to 2 times, so it just does more damage and reduces the enemy's damage against me. Pulverize sounds pretty good. It consumes 2 stacks of Thrash though. Oh, on the target to deal a lot of damage. And like all these other talents reduce the damage they deal to me. I think if I picked one of these, I really don't know. Maybe just Rend and Tear, actually. They're not as exciting as the icons made them look to me, but... Anyway, they do sound useful, just not super exciting talents to me. But anyway, with this row we have Earth Warden. When I deal direct damage with Thrash, I gain a charge of Earth Warden, reducing the damage of the next auto attack I take by 30%, and that can have up to 3 charges. Reduce the cooldown of Barkskin and Survival Instincts. Survival Instincts has a long cooldown. I think reducing that by 33% to 1 minute, or not to 1 minute, by 1 minute could be helpful. So Mangle increases the duration of my Iron Fur. So that just increases my armor. I'm actually not sure, and the healing of my next Frenzied Regeneration. I'm really not sure on these talents. Earth Warden seems the most passive of these, which usually I don't like passive things, but some of these, I'm not sure. Like this one, it seems like I want to use Iron Fur and make sure I can use Mangle right away. I'm not sure I'd always want to use that. I probably would. It's probably a high priority skill. But I feel like I'm spending a lot of time, maybe even Barkskin. Although I kind of don't use my ones frequently, so I'll just go with Earth Warden and roll with that for now. And we can, oh, we're already set up to do Mist of Pandaria, so don't actually have to do anything. I can just run around moonfiring all these training dummies. Is there a little training dummy in here? That one looks decommissioned. Moonfire, actually, it seems like it does a lot of damage, even the upfront. Probably not, nearly as much as my other things, but a surprising amount to me. Alright, so we have Storm Stout Brewery.
I am 10.
Oh, 2 Pandaren. 3 Pandaren. No, just 2 of them. The third one's an NPC here. What's this green item? Actually don't know. May cause me to see strange things. Anyway, I think we are good to get going with the actual dungeon. So you usually go with Earth Warden, Eamon, and that sounds good. Sounds like we're almost on the same page there. At least that's what I ended up picking. So Frenzy Regeneration, that just... I think that used to be something that could consume like your maximum rage or something to heal, and it looks like now it just heals me. And it has a couple of charges and costs only a little bit of rage, so maybe that's something I want to prioritize when I need some defenses. And then Iron Fur is probably something I want to try to keep activated. I guess probably should be using Mangle. Wow, I'm taking a lot of damage here. I feel like I keep spamming Moonfire, but I should probably not do that as much. I don't know why they're knocking me back so much. I don't really remember that being a thing. What is this? Controlled by... Oh yeah, so that's... I think we need to hit those things. There's still another one somewhere. There we go. Seems like people like to hit things like that in WoW, so we'll see if we can get past them. I think they might be getting, yeah, it looks like they're getting some quest items. Oh, and we got one of these activated. I kind of remember something like that, so they did blow something up. Looks like somebody's having a lot of lag, and actually just saw them skip around a lot. Okay, so these ones we do actually need to fight. They're pretty low health though. I don't know if it's worth trying to Moonfire all these little things. I don't know what else I would do besides Mangle, but getting the damage over time with Moonfire, that's the thing that like Balanced Druid does. That's kind of what I base this off of, even though Mangle it's just like single target damage and generates rage, so probably even using Moonfire is okay. But yeah, this is the point that we need to, I think, basically pull and kill everything we can. Oh, and I leveled up during that. I remember while leveling in Mist of Pandaria, I'd always try to kill as many of these type of enemies as ones that run away right here, because they all give you XP. So killing more than you need to activate the boss or whatever would always be like a challenge to try to do. Okay, so we need to stop spamming Moonfire, so much as fun as that is. Yeah, I kind of remember this mechanic. At least it didn't do that much damage to me. Oh, there it is again. I could have avoided it, maybe. I feel like, whatever this is, Druid, bear tanking. There we go, I barely avoided it that time. I think it's pretty fun so far. Of course, we've had a lot of AoE and spamming Moonfire. Oh, really spamming Moonfire right now? I actually got that triggered a lot, it seems like, for the free Moonfire. That was one of the things I thought from it I might not. But I'm also generating a lot of rage, I noticed. Compared to Warrior, it seems like I generate more. So basically I have to, or am able to, keep up Iron Fur, and it's off the global cooldown, so I can use that. Probably should be able to use it a little bit more frequently than I am. And then if I remember correctly, this is another time we just like run through completely. And somebody can get hammers that will knock these guys away if I remember correctly. I have so much rage, I don't even know what to do with it right now. How did he get up there? Find a way to get the Husenklinger to let go in the Storm Stout Brewery. I have done this dungeon a lot, as I mentioned. This is what I did a lot on this character, was actually, I like doing a lot of the Mists of Pandaria heroic dungeons. I don't know why specifically on tanking Druid, but I did enjoy that. And it sounds like, yeah, I can get, I can stack Iron Fur and have more than one active, and each stack has more armor. So yeah, I probably just need to activate that more frequently is what it sounds like. Whirlwind, is this something, I think even as a tank I have to try and avoid this. This might actually be a time if I got balance affinity, I might be able to get close enough to use my melee abilities and not actually be in that. Perhaps I used that too early because we didn't actually get a lot of these ads. I use my tech. What is my cooldown? I think Berserk used to... Oh, it reduces the cooldown of Mangle, Thrash, and Growl, and Frenzied Regeneration, and reduces the cost of Iron Fur. So let's actually use a bunch of Iron Furs. I wonder... It's like 1,000 armor. I have no idea how much that is for my character, but that's a lot, and I can keep... Oh, it looks like each stack goes away on its own. They each have their own duration. So even though the actual number, like the 7 they reset, each stack ticks away on its own. But I thought Berserk, the old version of that maybe, used to make Mangle like a 3-target AoE. Two charges, increases versatility by 18 for an hour, counts as battle and guardian elixir, and the effect persists through death. It's 2 charges though, so if I use that twice as the increase of versatility, like, does that use actually go away? I'm going to equip this. It's an upgrade. I'll put it down here. And it looks like the healer is getting hit by this brew elemental. If I remember correctly, we have to try to take these ads into this, where the barrels are spilling their ale, whatever it is, whatever beer, or if you stand in it. So chance to hit reduced by 100%. Maybe that's what I got for standing in it. It's fun to stand in it,
Made it through in one piece.
except it's hard to see.
I don't think they had the guts.
Yeah, now not only can I not see, but my character is wobbling a lot. Well, these mobs are only level 41, so that helps. That's one of the interesting things actually about being drunk in WoW, is it makes it look like mobs are lower level, and I think even in Lotro it works the same. But it's just like an interesting thing that it makes like whatever you're doing seem easier. Barely got the second stack of Thrash on at time. Something did a lot of damage there. I got like a 380 crit. I don't know if Thrash could actually crit that much. I'm almost used to, there's, I think in the old version of Druid, or at least one old version of tanking Druid, like Mangle did a lot more damage than your other skills. It seems like a lot of things are more normalized. Even Maul, that actually is the strongest skill it looks like.
Yes, yes, yes. So close. Just a pinch of oomph.
So like if I am actually looking to do damage, I probably need to use Maul a lot. Of course that means I can't use Iron Fur or whatever. But compared to the old Mangle, that's just what I'm maybe a little bit more used to with Druid. And something. Deeply asleep, blackout drunk. Actually being blackout drunk, it's easier to see than it is being whatever regular drunk I am. I feel like I'm not using Frenzied Regeneration all that much, which I guess is okay. That probably means the healer is keeping my health up, but I've just kind of noticed that. Hello, I'm not your dad. He said, I am your favorite YouTuber, so I'm glad I am your favorite YouTuber. Oh yeah, this one we run behind the pillar. Maybe. We'll see if other people follow. I kind of wasn't ready for this, but I remember way back in the day whenever people would run this, they would actually know that, but perhaps not all these people know that, and I was not positioned correctly. But anyway, I'm not your dad. I am glad you enjoy my content. I appreciate the comment there. And this is really a mess. This would be a nice time to be the Death Knight if people don't hide behind the pillar, including me. But with the Death Knight, there's that one skill that Eamon mentioned earlier. I forget what it is. Gorfine's Grasp. That would just pull all the enemies together.
Yes, yes. No.
I guess one of the good things though about Bear Druid tanking is I have Moonfire, so I was at least able to put that on all the enemies. Whoa. They just happened to be right where all the enemies spawn, so they almost got killed very quickly. That is one thing about the DPS are super squishy in dungeons like this. It's definitely something I've noticed, and I think when you're in that little ground effect area, you get silenced. Oh, so I'm not your dad. It is fine about that name. It is a little bit weird saying that, but that is your name, so that is what I will say. And you said especially the Lotro content, so that is good to know. I've been trying to add a little bit more variety, as you've probably seen with my channel with these WoW streams, WoW Wednesdays. And perhaps some good news for you is I plan to have a big video tomorrow, assuming I can actually work on it and get it done. It's actually pretty late. I was hoping to record it tonight, but we'll see if I can actually get that done. I don't have too early of a morning at work, so I might just be able to get it done with that. And I think it's a good time to use Berserk. Oh, I kind of remember. I mean, I don't remember. I have to go out of the area. That's right. Oh, I have to go in a bubble. That's okay. I'm starting to remember what's going on here. I've done this, but that does not mean I remember this at all. I think even this boss can have different versions of him. He can have different mechanics throughout the fight. Like one time you face him might not be the same as another. Get in the little bubbles again. Maybe we will. Maybe not. I feel like we're doing very little damage to him. I don't know. Oh yeah, these are the different brews he has, so I think those are the different abilities I just mentioned that I think sometimes he can just have different ones of those. Oh, we need to keep moving for this? I didn't even realize that. I've just been moving. I didn't even realize I needed to do that for that blackout brew thing. But I just feel like our damage here is really low. I don't know what we're missing. But it seems like we had high damage for everything else is why I mentioned that so much. I have so many procs that I can just like keep using Mingle and Moonfire and get all the extra effects and stuff from that. Okay, let's move around for a bit. Then we go in the bubble, and then we fly in the bubble for a little bit, and we can hit the boss again. Okay, so I just used one charge of Cloak of Hidden Blast, so we'll see. I'll try to remember to use one more charge of that. Actually, let's go ahead and use the second charge of that. No charges. So is that something... Is it just like, can I not use it anymore? That's what I was trying to find out what this is, if the charges regenerate, or... if it's just like a 2 and done type item. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting to move around for a blackout brew. I need to run in circles for a while to get my stacks reduced on that. I think when you get to 10 stacks is when that actually will knock you out. I think I saw our mage got knocked out and maybe they're just not moving that much. Oops, I thought we were getting all the different bubbles, but maybe not. But yeah, now that we're almost done with this fight, this was a very long boss fight so far compared to all the others we've had, I think. But anyway, just to go over my thoughts with Druid real quick, Druid tanking specifically, I do enjoy it. I'm glad to see that it's still fun to play. It's just a little bit different than the other versions of it I have played, the older versions. So one of the big things I've kept mentioning is Mangle doesn't seem as strong, and Maul actually does more damage, and the rage consumption in general is a little bit different. I remember Maul used to be off the global cooldown and you'd have enough rage to use whatever your other rage consumer was. I don't really remember Ironford too much, so maybe that even wasn't a thing. And Frenzied Regeneration was a little bit different. It didn't, as far as I remember, it didn't have a cooldown, but just based on the amount of rage you had, it would consume it all and you'd get healing based off of that. So those are the differences, and just something I have to get used to, but I do think I enjoy it. And so far I enjoy, I think, the Death Knight and Druid the most. I was kind of surprised with Paladin and Warrior. I might have expected to enjoy them more than Death Knight, but that so far at least is not the case with trying to find a class, and in this case a tank I like. I think I do like Druid and Death Knight so far, but I think I will save Monk and... I'm flying straight up, now I'm flying here. I guess that's the effect of being drunk. It actually changes how vertical you're flying. I'm just like, because I'm actually just flying, pressing W, not even moving anything here. But yeah, in that dungeon, characters do like to get drunk. But anyway, that is what I think about the tanks so far. I think in the next one I will go with the healers and at least do a few of those. And then maybe I will do a 6th part. Because what are we on? We're on part 4, so part 5 would be the healers, and then maybe I could do a 6th part of revisiting anything I did miss, because I think I have missed a couple things overall, or at least didn't spend too much time on a few different things that I could maybe revisit. And that one, just to have another part of this mini-series if I find, basically if I find an actual need to do that. But anyway, as far as the stream goes, it has been pretty fun. It was a little bit hectic getting started with the Prot Warrior in that dungeon, Halls of Lightning. That one was a pretty tough one, and we had some tough fights. We finally, I think, wiped very late into it, but we had a lot of tough fights before that we somehow managed to get through. And then everything seemed to get easier as time went on, especially that last Mistipanda area dungeon. That was a lot easier than the Lich King ones. But anyway, with that, I hope you all enjoyed the stream as well, and Just as a future outlook for content, I mentioned I'll try to have a Lotro video tomorrow. I was actually planning on streaming Lotro tomorrow as well, but I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to do that with also having a video. We'll just see how much time I have basically after all that is over. But anyway, with this stream, I hope you all did enjoy it. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more or becoming a channel member to support the content. And thanks for joining and chatting. And thanks again to Eamon for the $10 super chat tip. And thanks for watching, everyone.